we go, boss.
Don't call me boss.
All right, boss.
El jefe.
Boss man.
Seriously, don't call me boss.
Would you say I had a plethora?
All right. Laptops are off. Beers are poured. We are officially offline. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Offline. With me, and hopefully with me always, will be Michael, Cynthia, RJ, and I'm Anthony. And in order of what we do, we all work together. In order of what we do, Michael's a designer, Cynthia's a developer, RJ's research, and as Robert Scoble called me, I'm management overhead. So today we're going to talk about some recent news that has popped up, some recent, some not so recent. We're going to talk about the Facebook IPO and give our opinions on that. We're going to talk about, gosh, I lost it. I had it printed. I had it written down. We're going to talk about Facebook. Okay, let me start over on that.
This is live.
This is live. So
live.
Today we're going to talk about, are we okay with that? Today we're going to talk about the Facebook IPO, we're going to talk about the Nest thermostat, and we're going to talk about the recent announcements from Apple. So first we're going to start with Facebook IPO.
Marky Mark.
Marky Mark.
That's right.
Mark, who owns nearly 29% of a $100 billion company.
And where did that number come from?
Well, it came from important bankers and such. Just to give you guys some stats, what I thought was interesting, I looked it up. So Facebook, $100 billion valuation. They do $3.7 billion in revenue, $1 billion in profit. They're valued at about 100 times profit. Apple, $500 billion company valuation, $100 billion in revenue, about $26 billion in profit. They're valued about 19 times profit.
Yeah.
So Facebook is valued at 5 times what Apple is. Worth it?
I don't know. I mean, you can walk away from the Apple store with something, and I don't, aside from walking away with a couple of likes and maybe some girlfriends that I've stalked before, I don't know what you get out of it.
A few awkward messages.
So you're not buying Facebook stock?
I don't know. I mean, it sounds like it was valued by how many bankers hit the like button.
Yeah? Yeah? So 31 bankers are invested in it right now.
Yeah. There's some value in it, obviously, because everybody sits on it all day long, and you know how much lost revenue is devoted to people posting what their cat ate for breakfast or whatever. But it just seems
There's no physical.
Yeah.
There's nothing I get to walk home with.
there's going to be a next and best, right? I hope there should be a next and best.
So that's my thought on it, right? So Facebook is, are you going to use your dad's social network? Like 20 years from now, right? Are my kids going to be?
the big
To the
challenge
point,
for them.
though, nobody uses MySpace anymore. Isn't this what MySpace
bands
was
and stuff,
5, 10
right?
years ago?
Yeah, and
But
then
it
you go back
died.
further and you go Friendster, right? And then
Yeah.
you can probably go
But
to
that wasn't
Prodigy
even a
if you wanted
generational
to.
thing. That was just Facebook doing it better.
Yep.
Right? Is that the point you're trying to make?
Yeah, I think so. So if somebody comes along and does it better, I mean, maybe you don't walk away with something, you certainly lose a lot of time.
Well,
Yeah.
On
I
Facebook.
think there are a couple people doing it better right now, but
Who?
there's still.
Who?
I think Path is doing it better.
Yeah. Path is
I've never heard
I've
of
never
Path.
heard of Path.
It's essentially a small, less noisy Facebook.
But isn't a social network's value in the number of people that are on it? Like, if you've never heard of a social network, is it a social network or is it just something cool that?
Yeah.
The social network's value is if my friends are on it. I don't care if everybody else is on it, and that's part of the problem with Facebook.
Well, that'd be very valuable for you because you don't have that many friends.
It'd be a very small social network.
It's not a good way to make real friends. As somebody pointed out today, like
call it
15
the
years
pub.
ago, if you had that many imaginary friends, we'd call it a mental disorder. So
Yeah.
people you've never met.
People you never met.
At what point do you go from, like small groups to broadcasting? Like, at what level are you at a broadcasting point? Is it 3,000 people that I'm now broadcasting? When I can't start reacting in time and I'm just starting, it's narcissistic. I just put out stuff that's
everybody here's on
benefit to me.
Facebook, right? So when you started, you were on it a lot.
Yeah. Well, I
No.
think I
What
wasn't.
does the peak look like? Like, what does the curve look like for you? You've been on
bell curve?
Yeah, it's been a bell curve. So you're
showed
tapering
up
off.
and then tapered off. Like,
I had nothing to do at my last job, so I learned it, and then I got a real job that I really like.
That's good.
I
So
haven't
you
been on
so
it.
Facebook was your pastime.
Yeah.
But again, I go back to $100 billion dollars for
It's
nothing.
it's all based on the fact that they can sell ads that are targeted because of all the information that you put there.
Yeah.
And maybe that has a lot of value. I mean, this year, what I read is that the internet advertising is going to surpass for the first time print advertising
Yep.
in terms of market share.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something there. The
there's
problem
something
is
there.
that a lot of that seems to be spam. I mean, I don't know about you, but in my very oldest email account that I own, maybe 5 to 7 emails a day are actually
You-
legitimate.
well,
the
check
other
this out.
300 are spam.
How
That's
many,
all
how
advertising.
many of you guys have clicked on an ad in Facebook before?
I don't know if anybody
No.
would admit to
I mean,
clicking on an ad on
Right.
Facebook.
Right.
So that banner blindness, which happens on and advertising on all websites, is going to happen there as well. And I think their market share can erode because they don't,
Yeah,
they don't have
but
anything.
but
Yeah,
but
that's
banner
got
ads on
nothing to do with it.
websites, they're looking for less than 1% of conversion rate, right?
You
So
don't have to click for the ad to have value, right? You never clicked in
Okay.
a magazine before. You don't click in a newspaper. It's brand awareness.
Wait,
It's-
well, we're just saying that business model is advertising, and then everybody here never uses the advertising.
clicking isn't
Yeah,
the same.
but-
I'm just saying that
But a
advertising.
magazine has a different
right,
call to
it's-
action, doesn't it?
Does it?
I don't know. I think if you're on the internet, the call to action for an ad is
So
click on me.
certainly
So if you
advertising
don't-
is a business model in and of itself. I mean,
Right.
Google has that model. They're valued about $200 billion, so twice the value of Facebook. Well, ironically, Facebook has, what I read it somewhere, half
Four-
the internet traffic.
Well,
half of all
and
internet
they're
traffic.
valued at 4 times what Google was at its IPO right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Google was
I
23
don't know.
when
Sorry.
it
So
came out the
Bo,
door.
so you buying Facebook stock?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
I want to see what it does in 6 months to
Yeah.
a year. I
You
want
wanna
it to
see what-
settle first.
IPOs are too volatile.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait.
I'm fully vested in Groupon, so I'm not investing in Facebook either. All right, next subject.
Even worse.
Nest.
Yes.
Well,
This is
the
painful.
sorry, disclosure. I was joking about Groupon. I'm not really. I don't really have money in Groupon.
This changes everything.
All right.
So glad.
So
well, now I have to invest in Facebook.
I'm buying Starbucks.
Bring the card back.
So we're going to talk next about the Nest thermostat designed by the old iPod designer. iPod, excuse me.
Grandfather of the iPod.
The father of the iPod.
Grandfather.
Grandfather.
And they're being sued by Honeywell for thermostat technology. I
Multiple
own a
patents.
Nest. Have to say, I can't believe I'm saying it. I love my thermostat.
Right on.
I have, it has a little iPhone app. You can change the weather in the weather. Wow. Version 2.0. You can change.
My weather creating machine is powerful.
Is that the patent?
That's the patent. Yeah.
Honeywell knew how to do that this whole time.
Anyway, so you can I can change the temperature in my home from anywhere in my home, which pisses my wife off, and I love it. You don't love something like a thermostat.
What do you love about it besides the ability to change it? What else
So
is it that?
one, super easy to. I mean, it's everything that you come to know about Apple. It's super easy to set up. It feels good to change the temperature. It was
Like when you're cold.
Yeah, right, exactly. It not only feels good to warm up the house, but the way the dial works, it's just really good industrial
designed.
design.
It's
And
designed.
the software inside of it is really easy to understand. So I
Is it
absolutely
accurate?
love it. Yeah, it's accurate. I mean, it's the accuracy part's not the hard thing about a thermostat. Most people don't touch their thermostat because it's kind of hard to change the temperature and get it set right. This learns it. It wakes up when you walk towards it. The light turns on.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It knows it can hear ambient noises. So if you're there, it sets it to where it is and it goes green and turns the temperature down. So
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
Well, it has a lot of visibility, right? Like, hold up that card again.
Sure.
It looks like a thermostat,
Right.
but it's
Yeah.
not, right? So you see this glowing number thing on the wall, and it's not something that you would normally understand what that is. Is it remote sentry? Is it Terminator going to come out and try
Yeah, could
to
be
kill
a
me?
Terminator.
But you walk up to it, and because I think it follows that pattern of
Well,
what you
this is
saw.
what Honeywell's suing him for
Yeah.
because it looks like a thermostat.
Right.
And so it pisses me off that I can't have nice things because Honeywell has decided not to use their patents to make nice things. Like they're not innovating
Yeah.
because of their patents.
Well,
Is it a patent problem or is it the fact that our society is so freaking litigious now that no one's allowed to do anything without the permission of everyone else in the country.
Yeah.
That's the real
definitely part of
problem.
it,
There's
right.
plenty of people that do things that are somewhat in line with other patents, right? And if there's a certain amount of innovation, I think other companies kind of piggyback on that and we kind of run with it.
Steve
Here,
Jobs
this
said
is-
it standing on the shoulder of giants, right? When he launched the iPad.
Here,
Which is-
Honeywell's just ticked off that somebody did it better, and we have, corporate law in this country that makes it really easy for them to just
Well,
go
I think
after the little guy.
fundamentally, this shows why the patent system is actually
screwed up.
stifling innovation.
Totally stifling. Yeah. And it's interesting when this happens in the tech space. Like everybody gets all mad, but it's kind of like it's one of our own going after one of our own, right? When Apple and Google are suing each other or whatever. But now you've got like an old
You got the old guard.
the old guard trying to defend their turf, and it's interesting to see the entire like new industry of the internet like rise up in defense of Nest, saying like, oh, we got to fix this. This is terrible. Take those guys down, because now it's like a moral issue for us, whereas before it was just like a business issue.
I can't believe I love my thermostat. Like it's really bizarre, and the fact that Honeywell's blocking that.
I love my toaster.
You love your toasters.
Fine.
Yeah, it's
need to
okay, but
find
I'm
an
sure
appliance to love.
somewhere how much do you spend on your toaster because of patents? And I don't want to take anything away from people that actually invent, but
It's different protecting the inventor versus completely saying that because it's round and it's got a number on it, this is
well,
patented.
the patents covers a couple. I mean, there's 6 patents they're suing for. One is
Yeah.
the fact that you don't have to change the temperature on your furnace manually.
Oh,
that's
so the light
ther-
switch hack is.
Yes, the thermostat. The fact that it's internet connected is
How
is
many
is a
other
patent.
things are internet connected?
the-
and they're not suing all
The
those
question
people?
system that you go through to
Right.
like those things are patented and granted
See,
those are
that's-
interesting
those
inventions.
patents should never have been granted.
No,
those are
those are
not
silly
things
patents.
that have to do with
I don't necessarily agree.
invention.
I don't
Yeah.
necessarily agree whether or not they should be, because things become obvious later,
Yeah.
right? So when you think of it, it's not obvious, and then all of a sudden somebody looks at it and goes, "Oh, that's obvious." So I do believe you should protect the invention, but we're protecting the invention to the extent we're not valuing execution. So Honeywell invented a thermostat, but they didn't continue to execute well on the design,
Yeah.
and therefore they really have damaged our ability to have nice things.
Well, I can spitball awesome ideas, right? Like shooting lasers on the moon for a Nike logo, and just because I wrote it down doesn't mean that we should do it. And when
what'd
somebody
you
else
say?
does
Shooting-
it,
shooting-
shooting lasers at the moon.
I like that.
Shooting, yeah.
Shooting?
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought it was spitting.
Yeah.
I take issue
You
though.
can't spit
You
lasers.
think that it's valid to say that I can hold a patent on being able to connect to the internet from a device. Well, that means whoever got that patent first, you don't have an iPhone anymore. Like
Well, there is
So
a
what is that?
point in, like, this is what Apple and Motorola are fighting about, is the FRAND thing, which I can't remember what the acronym means, but basically there's a fair, it's fair licensing for your patents. So there is some fair trade thing, but still, it's 2%. It's 2% of the cost of the phone. Double that, 2.5% is what Motorola is asking
Times
for. So,
every
so
device.
$500 on a phone, you take 2.5% of that, and it's
$13.
$13. Multiply that times 2. $26 is what they're adding to the cost of the phone because they have to add profit in.
Yeah.
So you're spending $26 more on your iPhone than you need to because this patent system is in place. I think we should value execution more than invention.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
interesting.
I mean that's easy
Or-
to say,
or
though,
we could
but
even-
like you said, things become obvious in hindsight. So I think it's more an issue of like how long patents
There you go.
last.
Right.
Right,
That's what you do. So you
right.
give them a chance, right? You say,
Yeah.
you get X amount of time to accomplish
that's how
this
it works.
awesome stuff, and
That's
then
how it works.
then
It's
we
just
get
that
it.
The time limit's too
Right.
big right now.
Is there a time limit on patents at all right now?
They have to be renewed.
They have to be renewed.
Can I blame Sonny
but again,
Bono for
what
that
about
too?
those patents? It's also about the cost that it took. The
cost of research.
The cost of research.
So
What if
this
it's
is
$1 billion to
This is why pharmaceutical companies get an extended window because the amount sure the pill
Right.
costs 2 cents to make after
Right.
the 50 million we put in doing all the research to figure out how to make the thing work, right?
right?
But in a case where you're just filing a
Full
patent
disclosure:
for
Cynthia
the,
owns stock in pharmaceutical companies. So just so you know.
Are you a pill popper?
No,
Hook us up.
I robbed an OxyContin truck. Oh wait, I didn't say that.
Recorded, right?
It's being recorded.
Oh,
yes.
we're on
it
tape?
is.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Anyway, the point
Rush Limbaugh's
being,
coming
like,
after you.
you can't hold intellectual property forever.
Yeah.
Because somebody somewhere is going to come up with the same idea eventually, independent of any of the thought that you might have had. And just because you got there first doesn't mean that forever you're the only one that gets to hold that idea.
all right. So patent sentence broken in one sentence. How do you fix it, Mike?
Oh, lottery.
Lottery. Okay. You.
Term limits.
Term limits.
I think we need to revisit it completely. It was invented in a totally different context than we're in now.
Different
And
time.
The technology and the speed of innovation is so much faster now. That
So you're taking the safe answer. It depends.
I'm saying the whole thing needs to be reconsidered, but the time limit is definitely the first thing that
Yeah,
needs to change.
it's and from a practitioner's perspective, we get really scared about creating stuff for clients because what if it infringes on a patent and who's liable for it? And so the whole thing is really kind of broken. One last note on this, and we'll move on. There's a patent that we're a member of SOTA, and there's a patent that has been going around with the other agencies of SOTA, Society of Digital Agencies, and the patent was going after people that Photoshop somebody else's head onto somebody's body.
Oh, you mean like a...
There's a patent.
Yeah.
I mean, that was really him.
So that is a patent. You've infringed on a patent for using Photoshop. So we have to figure out a way to, at the very least, make patent research and knowing whether or not you're infringing on a patent or breaking a patent.
Yeah.
That freaks
Yeah.
me out because I only like to break one law at the time.
Yes.
And so all of my counterfeiting, you're telling me while I'm counterfeiting in Photoshop,
You're
I'm
also
breaking a
breaking
patent.
You're breaking a patent as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Several.
well, that'll just stop me counterfeiting.
Well, then it worked.
All right, what's up next?
Hurting the economy again. All right, so we're gonna break for
One PDF at
where
a time.
we around the office we run these caption contests.
Brilliant.
So Michael, we're using you as the first
Fantastic. Can I go first?
one. So
That's
you
a
may
very
go ahead and
nice
go
piece
for
of
it
meat,
first.
Michael.
So just to set this up, that is head cheese.
No, you can't set it up.
I can't set it up? Okay, so that is 2 heads full of cheese.
2 heads full of cheese. Very good. All right, Cynthia.
I was going to tell you that's a lovely piece of meat.
Thank you.
Oh,
It would-
ooh.
if I had a nickel for every time a lady told
All
me
right,
that.
hold on. So the views expressed on this show do not reflect those of our employer, each other, the great state of Colorado, or most other people with good jobs.
I would have a
I
whole
had
nickel.
legal department wrote that up for me. Okay, RJ.
This is how the sausage gets made.
That's really lame.
Never want to see it.
That's
sorry.
that's really.
Sorry, boss.
Try again.
Didn't you
Try it
wanna-
again.
Go
Version you get just retake.
Go again. I'm serious
want-
about
you
your meat.
Let me handle your sausage.
Okay,
How about
better. I'll go
Let
with.
me manhandle your sausage.
I'll go with. This couldn't be any creepier unless you added a box of Girl Scout cookies
Or the Girl Scout.
or the Girl Scout. All right, that's caption
I'm
contest.
going to molester stash for the next one.
All right, last. There's this company called Apple, and they did some stuff
they do?
today or this week.
California, I think.
Yeah, they Cooper Mento, something
Okay.
like that.
Cooper Mentos.
Yeah,
Big announcement.
big announcement. So they announced the iPad through
The new
the
iPad.
new
New
iPad.
iPad.
Which makes
Excuse me.
makes Craigslist posting so hard. Like I have a
I have
new old iPad.
I have a new
No,
iPad.
I have an
really
old
easy.
new iPad.
It's not
It's like
hard at
when you
all.
buy a jersey from New Jersey, you have a new Jersey jersey.
man.
Yeah,
When
it's
was
a little
it-
bit difficult.
Did you ever have an iPod 4? No, I mean your iPod was always the iPod, and you might have said I have the 3rd gen Nano, blah 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 blah, and the iPad, like introducing number identifiers for the iPod and the iPhone was a complete break with tradition for Apple.
Because it's
So
a MacBook, not a MacBook 9
It's
or
not
whatever.
a MacBook 9, exactly. So to go back to just calling it the iPad is way better. It's better for their
better.
brand consistency. It's going to
Yeah,
make
I mean,
more sense.
they
to
have the
consumers.
same issue with ice cream sandwich. Like if you want to buy it,
Right.
it's a,
An
you have-
Android phone.
Yeah,
yeah.
ice
Oh, I
cream
thought you
sandwich.
meant
Android
an
phone
ice cream
still
sandwich.
has ice cream
Sorry,
sandwich.
that
That's the
joke
other
fell
problem.
really flat. Nobody got it, but that's okay. So
We're laughing.
I failed to recognize the
good,
joke
yeah.
still.
So that's a mark of a good joke. There's one person out there that's going, "That was hilarious."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone
that
else
was
will
it.
It's,
Maybe not
thumbs
even one
down
person.
on
Yeah.
YouTube.
You learn a lot by dissecting frogs, but they die in the process. Don't explain jokes.
Okay, good. Good.
I'm totally using that.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So iPad. You, first of
Yes.
all, And who's buying one?
I already did.
You already did.
I hammered the App Store or the online
Apple Store, yeah.
Yeah, until I could get through.
I was there with you. I was getting an Apple TV and I never
Right.
got one.
Really?
I'm gonna wait it out,
This
but
is
I'm gonna get one.
I'm sorry. I must not be part of the cult. I don't know what it is. Like, I have an iPhone.
Drink your Kool-Aid.
Obviously, I know. I don't get it.
What do
Why
you mean?
Looking
So
down
just
on
because
everyone else.
What do
Apple
you
co-
mean cult?
So just because Apple comes out and says we have this cool new thing and it does this one really cool new thing, everybody has to like jump on the bandwagon. Do you
Go
all
ahead,
think
let
for
it out.
yourselves
Go ahead.
ever, or
Keep
do you
it
just
coming.
Apple says
Just keep it coming.
Apple says buy this and you go okay.
Take my
Yeah.
money.
That's right.
Ah!
That is exactly
I
what
don't
we
have
do.
it yet.
No, when
That's
the iPad 2 came out, I wanted a high-resolution display because I knew I'd be reading on it all the time, and they didn't come out with one. So I got the iPad 2, and I don't think that I'm normally a Apple cult by follower or whatever, but I have an iPhone 4, got the iPad 2, and it was like the least exciting Apple product I'd ever had. Like you open it and you're like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I expected. It's not that fun because the resolution and the screen quality on my phone was already better than this iPad that I had. And so the whole time I wanted it to be high res. And so when the new one came out and that's
Okay,
what it
when did
was,
you buy your
went
iPad
for
2?
it. A couple weeks after it came out.
So how long has that been? I had no
It's
clue.
about a
I
year.
had it for about a year.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so you're willing to throw another how
No,
much?
he sold his iPad.
I
$700?
sold my iPad 2
For
ahead
almost
of
as much
time.
as you bought it
Almost
for.
as much as I bought it for, which blew my mind, knowing that this one was probably coming out.
Yep.
Because I just want the high-res display.
Yep.
I'll probably skip the next version, maybe even the one after that. Who knows, though? Maybe a year from now I'll be buying again.
I'm with you though. I have an iPad 2. I had an iPad 1, had an iPad 2, upgraded primarily for FaceTime. And I use I haven't charged my iPod for a month and a half. I use it. I get those two mixed up.
I haven't charged my
Which
iPod
one?
in
Which one
forever.
is the one that plays music?
That's the Diamond Rio.
Okay, so I have my iPad. Then I've had that. I've had the iPad 2. Use it for FaceTime and use it for travel when I watch movies on the plane, and that's pretty much it. You use it for
Yeah.
reading,
I use it a lot
and the
for
Retina display. I don't read, so the Retina display.
I've noticed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious. The Retina display is great
huge.
for reading books.
Great.
It's
Yeah.
great for a lot of stuff from a design
Hold on,
standpoint.
though.
You're
How-
almost at print resolution.
Right.
Except that you're reading books with a backlit display, which means your eyes are going to get tired. I can't read
is it
books
harder
that
to
way.
design for the
It's
iPad?
really been fun,
iPad 3
I have
now
to
is
say.
it like what
Yes,
challenges
yes.
are you going to have as a designer?
I have to have a Thunderbolt display to actually see the amount of pixels that could possibly
so,
be there.
So now you're going to have to talk to ops about
Right.
getting an upgrade to your display.
And my desk probably won't support the weight of that
Right.
that thing. It,
So you
it makes my file sizes 4 times as large. It
What does the-
forces you into only vectors instead of
Right.
pushing pictures.
What is the
going back
current
there.
internet going to look like when this, day one I have this thing with this great new thing and I try and load up a web page?
It's
Is it
gonna
going to look?
it's gonna look like a unicorn farted
Is
with
it gonna-
glitter. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna
It's
just
gonna be so
be
much better. It's
you
gonna be like Internet 3.0.
Are you sure it's not going to
You're
look
gonna have to wear
like,
sunglasses.
8-bit graphics on a big, huge
Hey,
television?
8-bit
I don't know.
graphics
We'll
are coming
find out
back in a
next
big
week
way. Brick
because
patterns.
The thing's shipping already. Like
Yes.
it gets here March 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the part of the announcement that blew me away. It's like, hey, we took the best thing we ever made, we made it even better. You can have it next week. It was like, holy cow.
You don't think that they waited until they knew when it was going to ship to
Sure
tell
they
you that?
did, but that's
it worked.
freaking brilliant.
It's not like
Yeah.
a month ago they said that.
Well,
not
it
knowing.
wasn't.
not what
I mean,
they've ever
look, the
done
iPad
before,
3, the
so-
iPad 3, and the Apple TV both weren't huge upgrades. There's no surprises.
Yeah.
There was nothing exciting. There was no touch displays.
feedback.
So
Yeah.
there was nothing that was surprising. We all knew it was going to come out. Nonetheless, Apple's going to kill it with iPad 3, and they're going to kill it again because iPad 2 is going to drop in price.
They're gonna drop to
Right.
keep up with the Kindle, right?
Yeah, they're
so
gonna-
it's much more
exactly.
powerful. $100
it was,
more.
our friend who used to work at the Apple Store was telling me that the iPad 2 they'll keep
insider.
around probably for another round.
Yep.
This is just his
Like-
guess.
And then
so
dump.
then by that point, so a year from now, it's Kindle priced.
Yep.
And so now they've got a cheap iPad that just crushes the Kindle in terms of specs, but it's priced near the Kindle Fire price point.
Yep.
Except that none of this technology is bringing people together.
Oh my goodness.
It's
Okay,
like-
so
it's-
so we're skipping. So yes
Apple-
or no? Apple TV, iPad. You going to buy neither one of them?
I'll buy an iPad 3. I have an iPad 1, and it's kind of old and heavy, and people laugh at me when I break
So
it
you buy
out
an
now.
iPad 3, not
so
an
I'll get an iPad 3 and
Apple TV?
and I won't do an Apple TV.
Okay.
I don't watch TV. That I thought they were going to come out with a branded plasma or LCD or
Yeah,
something.
you're
I
so
thought they were
so
getting-
1 month ago on rumors.
I know, right? So
All right, Cynthia, what are you doing?
I'm not buying
You're not
either. I'm
not
sorry.
doing it, not an Apple fan person at all.
It's not that I'm not. I mean, I
All right,
have
well,
an I have
enjoy
an
your
iPhone. I
Symbian
have a
phone,
MacBook
whatever.
Pro.
I don't.
I'm just saying,
I know.
I can't, check my brain at the door because it's Apple.
Yeah, I know.
I can't do
You
that.
love your
Can I-
Samsung
I wanna
tablet.
respond
Okay,
to the
RJ,
thing
what
that
do you
you
Sorry,
Brian?
Razor.
I already
Yeah,
bought,
sure.
as we said, but I want
bought.
to respond to the thing that you said about the iPad not bringing people together, because I think more than any other
man.
piece of technology, this one does.
How is
because
that?
two people can use it at the
Well,
same time. I
yeah.
can put the iPad on the desk, and we can both touch it. We can both
Seriously,
interact
my
with
mom, my mother-in-law both have
How
iPads.
often
They're
is
both
that
on
really gonna
Facebook.
happen?
We
All
do
the time.
FaceTime all the time. Like seriously, I know this sounds totally like kumbaya, but it has brought me closer together with my family who I don't get to see that much.
that,
So,
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
but
say-
how much has it taken you away from the family that sits across from you at the dinner table every night? Ask me how I know.
Well, you just.
how do you know?
Because I
is a
live in
sensitive
that
topic.
world where
Yeah, but-
everyone
but-
in my house has a stupid iPad.
I love my family. I don't know what you're saying.
Do you
I-
have a zero device
stuff is
rule
All right,
at the
so
table?
No, that's the
unfortunately, guys, we do
problem.
have to wrap up. So
Okay.
I am not buying an iPad 3, but I am buying an Apple TV. I actually have an Apple TV home where every TV has an Apple TV, and I want to upgrade to one of them. Anyway, so again, Michael, Cynthia, RJ, thank you. I'm Anthony. That's pilot edition of Offline. Hopefully, we'll see you again.
Going back online.
Get on.